Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for all the subscribers on YouTube that check out our channel, My Global Mind Rock Magazine. For those of you that read the magazine, we thank you for your support. Today, we're doing an intro video. We had a little bit of an audio issue at the beginning of this particular interview with the great drummer from the band Evergrey, Mr. Jonas Ekdahl. If you've heard the news last week, Jonas is stepping away from live duties, touring duties with the band, so Evergrey has a new drummer, which if you heard the news as a few hours ago, they've announced it on their socials who that is going to be. So with this specific interview, we basically started right to that question. I was talking to Jonas about how he felt about walking away. I mean, he's been in the band a long time, and this was pretty big news. And in fact, the band was kind of shocked when they heard the news. So we're going to jump right into that cut at the beginning of the interview. Yes, I realize the audio is spotty here and there for that one. There'll be a full transcript and text on the website as well, for all of you that the one specific details about the interview. Once again, thank you for supporting rock and metal. Subscribe to the My Global Mind channel or check us out on the website. As always, thank you. Rock on.
And playing together with the other guys, live. But sometimes you change, and I felt that it came to that point that I couldn't do. I had no joy in touring anymore. I'd rather be putting that energy and that time in production and writing songs instead. That because it's something that makes me more happy than being out playing live shows. So yeah, I kind of decided in February, but we had a bunch of shows booked already throughout the summer and summer festivals, and I told myself that I would do, just to be like 200% sure about my decision, I would do these shows as well and do them 100% as professional as I possibly could, just to see if there's any doubt, and after the summer I would make the decision fully, thinking it, and so I did, and I'm not regretting anything. It feels like the right decision for me, and I think it's the band needs a drummer that is that wants to go out and play live shows and touring. I would just hold them back eventually, if I would have stayed. So it's not wouldn't be fair to anyone. And then they're still my best friends, so it's super important for me to point that out as well, that there's no hard feelings or anything. I'm leaving solely because of my lack of passion for touring now. So
Gotcha. And it makes sense. I mean, I don't know if people really, from a fan's perspective, I'm not a musician, but we've covered rock and metal for a long time, so we know that life on the road's not easy for anybody. There's a lot of things that come with that. It's a lot of sacrifices, so if you have a family, and you've been with the band a long time, right? So some fans, newer fans of the band would probably say, well, why is he doing this? Well, he's been in the band a long time, and it's like you're saying, if you feel like your passion is not there, where it's not going to justify giving 100% with the live performances, then you're absolutely right. I mean, you got to do what you think is best for you, and also for the band. They, like you said, they're your friends. You've known these guys for a long time, and I was just I just looked through the socials like a few minutes ago. I didn't know this was happening. They made the announcement of who the drummer is, which I'm not going to say right now. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but that's great that they're moving and they have somebody in place that can do the parts, justice in this band, because your music is not easy to play. I mean, whether you categorize as progressive metal or melodic metal or all these different kinds of things. Evergrey is very dynamic when it comes to the to your music and your performances. So hopefully, and I'm pretty sure that they found a really great drummer to pick up the parts there after
Yeah,
a big
yeah,
decision
they
like
have.
this.
Yeah, he's a beast. So yeah, he can play my parts with like one hand, so it's I'm not worried, you know.
Well, that you know, it's bittersweet kind of for me. For like I said, I'm a big fan of the band. I've been a fan since before you came in the band, which I believe was at the Inner Circle. I think it was your first record, from what I
Yeah,
remember. I became a fan of the band at Recreation Day, that era, and then you know even earlier than that, earlier records. I've always tell people that Evergrey doesn't make bad records because you guys always put a lot of effort into the quality of your music, your songwriting, production, and one of the most important things that I tell people that you know that read our magazine and you know worldwide fans that read our stuff, they care about the fans. You know, you guys have always showed appreciation for your fan base, and people that we talk to that have an admiration for your music, they'll say the same thing. You know, they care about the fans. They put in consistent music, and the fans appreciate that. So I think you know when the news first came out, some fans were like, "Oh man, you know this, you know it's kind of bittersweet. You know, Jonas has been with the band a long time, and you know, but you have to understand, you know, from a personal side of it, leave the personal side there. Uh, there's, you know, like you're saying, if the moment is right, then you know it's time to move on. And as long as both parties are happy and there aren't any hard feelings, I think that's, you know, that's good. And that's what it seems like, you know, where you guys are at this point. So, I wanted to talk about how the members reacted when you told them, "Hey, you know, this is what I feel is going to happen." How do they respond to you?
well, they were pretty shocked to be honest, because I didn't speak about this to anyone, not even my wife. So I needed to make this decision only like based on my own feelings, and I didn't want to have anyone giving me any advice or anything. I needed to do this for myself, you know. So when I told them, they came out of the blue for them, basically, you know. So yeah, they were shocked, but when I told them how I felt, they completely understood. And I was like expecting. I didn't know what to expect. Their reactions, you know. I anything from they would tell me to fuck off, you know, and be super pissed like taking it as well as they actually took it, you know.
Yeah.
So I like I was expecting the worst, but I mean, we're such a good friend, and we all want each other to be as happy as we can. So they took it so really well, you know, and they they understood how I felt and respected my decision. So yeah,
And you know, we also need to mention that you've been producing and you know, working on that side of things, not only with Evergrey, but you've done stuff with other artists as well. You know, production wise, songwriting, and all those things. So you have a lot of experience in that field already. You've been doing this for a while. So at you know, you ventured now full time. You know, hopefully for this side of things, but you've had plenty of experience doing this already. So that's more opportunity for you to focus on things that you know that you enjoy. So.
yeah, exactly. And that's life is too short. You need to do what makes you happy, you know, and what excites you. So you need to uh, focus, you know, focus on that, you know, and that's what I'm doing.
Yep. 100%. Well, let's talk about the new record that's going to come out in June, and this, of course, is through Napalm Records. You know, we've heard the promo. Obviously, we reviewed it already. Theories of Emptiness, another great record from you guys. Again, I go back to what I said earlier. I don't think you guys can make bad records. I've been listening for a long time, and the thing with the progressive metal genre, if you, I don't want to label you guys just that because your music it falls into other categories, I guess, but is sometimes it can become a bit stale, at least from some of the bands. You know, I listen to a lot of progressive stuff, so you guys manage to evolve your sound, seems like every time you make a record, and it's been like this for a while. And you know, it's just the combination of obviously Tom's vocals. He's a great vocalist. The passion he brings to the songwriting process. Obviously, your drumming. Henrik, the guitar player, is great. Ricard, you know, everybody fits in so well. Everybody has, you know, owned their instruments so well, which works out great when you're coming out with your record because you have this identifiable sound and it's unique to Evergrey. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of fans really enjoy your music and they relate to the lyrics because it tackles, you know, things that we don't want to talk about sometimes, and you know, dark things and things that are personal and private and all that stuff. And a lot of your records talk about different things like that. So, what was the training thought behind the new record, and kind of take us to, you know, the idea of songwriting and producing it and all that stuff?
Um, I mean, the biggest change with this album was that Johan, our bass player, delivered so many ideas during the writing stage. I think he, in total, he probably delivered over 30 ideas. That was like everything from just like a riff to full production song, ready songs, you know. So that took the workload a bit off mine and Tom's shoulders in terms of coming up and with new riffs to start a song and stuff like that. We could just open your phone on the computer and choose an idea that got us inspired for the day and start working, molding a song out of that idea. And that was super inspiring, and we felt creative, and it was kind of a relief as well compared to like previous you know, writing sessions where we wrote albums and stuff like that, when we've been preparing before we started to, you know, almost like a bit of a pressure, at least for me, to deliver a lot of ideas before, so we have something to start on, you know. But this time Johan did all that, and his stuff is just unbelievable. So I'm super happy that he did this, because he's such an amazing musician, and he deserves to be. He deserves all the credit that he can get, and yeah, it's nice to be able to talk about him and to give him some shine, you know, because he's an amazing musician. So yeah, that was like the biggest change for this writing this album. It's Johan's awesome ideas.
Gotcha. That's great. That's great to hear. Because yeah, because you were saying in a lot of the previous stuff, I know that you and Tom were heavily involved in a lot of the songwriting, and that's fine. But that's good that Johan contributed more to the record. That's good to know. Um, when I was, you know, listening before we heard the promo, the "Falling from the Sun" single, there was obviously a big hoopla with the video and stuff, with, you know, the crazy pyro and all that stuff that was featured in the video. And if you guys haven't, I'm sure you've seen the video. If you haven't seen it, it was directed by the great Patrick, you know, Ulais, was a big director in the metal world for a lot of rock and metal bands. So talk a little bit about that single and how, you know, that video specifically, how, you know, how all that came about.
Yeah, we drove. I think we packed our cars and drove like 2.5 hours up to a very small city in the middle of nowhere, up north from Gothenburg, where we had this friend that owns this pyro company that we would work together on with for this video. So we set everything up on this kind of a small field, and then started to put out all of the pyros. There was like they never ended, all those. Yeah, there was so much pyro. I'm sure you will notice in the video. Some like the biggest fireworks were so they fired up so high in the sky, like 40 meters. So we had to go like to carry all the pieces like 200 meters away. Otherwise, they wouldn't fit on the camera screen to be captured. So that kind of tells you how big and cool fireworks we had to work with. Um, so
Yeah,
we did,
that's what I was gonna
yeah,
say
we
right
did.
quick. Yeah, I was just gonna say right quick the because people have asked about this about the budget for for the video. It's not something nowadays. It's hard to to put big budgets into productions. So that was one of the things that with the pyro stuff. I'm sure that was not cheap.
No, it wasn't, but it was worth it. It was
Yeah,
totally worth it.
it
And
was.
I think we actually did like 4 takes with the not pyro during the whole song, but I think we did 2 takes with a bit less pyro, that only during certain parts, and then 2 takes where there was pyro during the whole song. You know,
Oh, wow.
during the whole song, and it was yeah, it was so much. It was super cool.
Yeah, it
But
came out
yeah,
great. I mean, the reception was great for that, and not only is the song great, which I've been one of my the partners to run stuff for us in the UK. He loves that single. He claims it's one of the best Evergrey songs he's ever heard, and I don't disagree with him. It's a great
oh
decision
cool.
for a single. It's a great song. The video's even better. So that's pretty cool that you guys chose that single. That's the one of the big ones. So. Um,
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. So the concept, I wanted to get into the some of the songs on the record. Um, one of the things you always notice with Evergrey and their music is the melodic choruses. I've always said that it's a combination of heavy, perfect balance of heavy and melodic. It's kind of that's kind of been one of the recipes in your music. Not that every song sounds the same necessarily because in previous records before you guys have evolved. Every record seems like you've evolved the last, I don't know, 4 albums at least. It seems like you've gotten better and better. And but that recipe where it's, there's just where there's sort of melodic riff or the choruses comes in and just heavy and then it can get back to like a power ballad and you guys are all over the place with the musical structure, but yet it's entertaining. It's not repetitive where the user gets bored of the same riffs. That's one of the things that I enjoy about an Evergrey record. So on songs like, for instance, Misfortune, that's another great song on the record. What was kind of the story behind that one?
Yeah, that's also one of Johan's ideas that we started from. So but the funny thing about when Johan writes, he says, I can only write slow songs. I can never write fast songs. So that song I think we sped up uh, almost 20 BPM. So it was super like almost like doomy song
Yeah,
when he on the demo,
right.
and yeah, it was one of those songs that we like. He had already like the basic song structure. We just kind of tweaked it a little bit and put it like a bit more evergrey touch to it, and that was it. That was quite easy to finish, as I recall. And then Tom had this. He worked on the lyrics, but the top line. I think it started with the melodies. He usually starts with just humming or singing gibberish and finding a melody that's cool and building and evolving lyrics around the melody or the phonetics sometimes as well. So he usually does this on his like morning walks. He brings out his voice memo and singing ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, that's Misfortune.
Gotcha. I'm gonna ask you about this because again, this was it was unexpected. So Say to me is the best song on the record. They're all great, but my favorite one is Say. It's just that's an Evergrey song to me.
Yeah,
Everything
it's
in
one of
there.
my favorites too.
Yeah, yeah, I love that song. So the end of the record, or excuse me, of the video, there's you walk up to the camera and you say thank you. And at first when I saw this, I was confused, man. I was like, man, what the heck is going on here? And
Yeah,
so some fans hinted already. Then well, something is up here with Jonas. What's going on? I didn't want to think about it. I was like, man, that's kind of that's deep. That's emotional. That
yeah.
ending. That means something there. So whose idea was it to record that last bit?
It was Tom's idea that he called me up one day and asked is uh, what I thought about that idea of having like an ending to the video where I walk up and say like thank you and goodbye or something like that to the fans and to everybody, you know. And I got kind of frightened and honored at the same time. Yeah, I mean the initial feeling was like I felt a huge honor and humbleness that he wanted me to do something like that because I've once it's on the video, it's going to be there, you know, forever. And
Yep.
I really do want to set the video off with with a negative vibe by doing this. And I told him, I told Tom, like, as long as people don't, you know, starting disliking the song based on the ending and what I'm about to do or what we're about to do with this ending, you know, and he's like, no, don't worry about it. And, you know, I felt this kind of feeling of unworthiness as well. It's like, do I really deserve to make a big have a big exit like this? And it's like, of course you've been in this band for 20 years. Of course you do. You know, it's like, so yeah, I was very honored to have gotten the chance to do something like this. So yeah,
Well, it
I'm
was a
very
nice
grateful.
touch.
And
I agree with them
yeah,
as well. You've earned the right for something like this to be done. I mean, you've been with the band a long time, and that says a lot about your bandmates as well. That
absolutely.
they chose to do that for you. We know that in other instances where a band member leaves, a band, whether it's abruptly or not, it doesn't matter. Sometimes they never speak again.
Yeah,
That happen. But
yeah,
that was cool that was featured in the video. It was a bittersweet for some of the fans when they saw that because there was speculation already on once they saw that. There's like, yeah, something
yeah,
wrong with Jonas, and then the thing was, oh, they made a social media post about it's going to be an announcement coming, and I think some people already kind of had an idea this was coming down, but I thought it was cool nonetheless. Nice touch by Tom and the guys to do that. So that's really cool.
yeah.
That's really cool. I wanted to ask you about this because I've always thought we've interviewed Ricardo a long time ago. I don't remember what your keyboard player. I don't remember what record it was for now. This was quite a few years back, but I've always thought that you know, his work in the band is extremely underrated. Just the way he blends in the keys, the keyboard sounds into your music, how that fits into some of the moodiness of the songs. I've always thought, you talk about Johan and what he did. I feel the same with Ricard and some of the stuff that he brings to the table with Evergrey sounds. He doesn't get spoken a lot about because he's the keyboard player, but I think that
Yeah,
he's a very important and underrated person in your member in your band, I think.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and for this album we've incorporated a lot of like Hammond organ as well, uh, which I find extremely cool, and it fits um, the sound of the album, the organic vibe and sound of this album so well. And that's also something that he has his own Hammond with a Leslie in the rehearsal space, so we just put some mic on it, and he uh, same there. We just could just record whenever we wanted, and yeah, that's another great touch to this whole album. I think. Yeah, yeah, this
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. So I get, you said "Say" was one of your favorite songs on the record. Did you have any other songs that stood out for you as specific songs that you liked the most?
Oh, I like We Are the North.
Yeah.
I really like that one. I like uh, I like the final track and the title track, "Theories of Emptiness." Um, I love that we kind of put it last and gave it um, in a sense, like give the listener some time to reflect, and to relax after if you happen to listen to the whole album in the one go, to have like a relaxing bit at the end and just like soak everything in and listen to the voice, what he's saying about everything that aspect about the emptiness. And yeah, I think that's a really nice song that actually Johan wrote piano and everything. So yeah, again, Johan is a
Johan.
genius.
Yeah. Johan, that's right. Goes to My Hero is another one that I like a lot as well. I don't know if you want to label it power ballad. It's one of the slower songs, I think, but to me, that's one of the things that's great about Evergrey. So you guys can play slower stuff and it still sounds good. That's another one that
Yeah,
stood out for me. Yeah, it goes to My Hero.
yeah, that turned out great. And again, that's also like Johan's uh, song structure, like basically from start to finish. But except for we did some production touch ups like during the verses and stuff, and then we had our friend Vikram Shankar who did the orchestral
Mhm.
arrangement
Right.
to the song, and it just turned out fantastic, and also all the cool backing vocals that Tom delivers on at the end is also super epic, uh, really lifts the song,
Yeah, and Vicar, for those that don't know, he plays it with Redemption. For the
Yes.
in Redemption as well. So obviously, Tom does vocals for them. Another great band. That's one of my. They're up there with Evergrey as one of those just great progressive metal bands.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they also have like this melancholic soft duo, Tom and Vikram, called Silent Skies, that you should
Yes,
check out. Yeah,
yes,
so
yes, absolutely. That's
they
a
know each other very
yeah,
well. So
yeah. No, we got that one too, and that's another great one too. It's a little different than some of obviously the Evergrey stuff, but it's good. It's good. Um,
yeah.
so obviously, I don't know. I guess it depends. You can elaborate some on this, but do you guys ever feel pressured to put out, keep putting out great records?
No, not the only pressure that I think that comes from ourselves, if any. Uh, but I don't think that we like pressure ourselves. I mean, we don't feel any pressure from the outside. That's for sure. We only like focus on doing what we're supposed to do at the moment. So it was just like write write a good song, and then you write the next one, and then you write the next one, and then you go back, and then you try to tie the pieces together so it becomes an album. So you just see it for what it is, and we just want to write the best music that we possibly can during that time period. That's all that we can do. You
Right. Yeah.
always learn something, and you always evolve from one record to the next. So we learned a lot from the previous album that we could, that we already could bring to the table for this album. And you learn new experiences, you develop, but we discover new music in between albums that gets you inspired, and you can, have as an inspiration. So you have, yeah, as long as you're aware of those creative nuggets that shows up every once in a while, you should just follow them and do the best you can at the moment.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about this, and I'm trying to go back and remember the song. You guys had, because I know you posted it on your social media. You brought in, I think it was just some fans that came in and recorded some of the background vocals on one of the
Yeah,
songs.
yeah, yeah. We did like a collaboration together with Sweden Rock magazine in Sweden for like an exclusive song for their vinyl edition. So it is going to be featured on the digital versions, but not for the vinyls. That's only going to be available from the Sweden Rock.
Okay.
They like doing collabs like that with Swedish guys. And I know Hammerfall, for instance, have done something similar, and bands like that. So yeah, we're very excited that they wanted to do this with us. So we kind of figured that we needed a song that would kind of combine Evergrey and the whole Sweden Rock vibe in terms of like festival feeling and lots of people, lots of good atmosphere. But we didn't want to make just a hard rock, singing about girls and partying kind of song. We needed to tie it into our world as well. So yeah, that became one heart.
I saw you guys posted that. I thought that was really neat. That again, it goes back to I think what I said. It's fans have this connection between bands, and I think your fan base is kind of like that as well. You guys care about your fans, and doing stuff like that is pretty cool. I know it's for promotional thing, but it doesn't matter. I mean, fans appreciate that stuff. That's pretty cool. That's not something that you see every day. You'll bring in some fans and hey, they'll sing on the record. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and as you said, we love our fans and we love interacting with our fans, both like during our live shows, and we love coming out talking to the fans afterwards after every show, and also it's a way to interact, as you say, and it's a kind of easy way to invite them into our creative world by having them be a part of the song.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's super cool.
Yep, I agree. I recall something. This was a while back, and I think around the time when Hymns for the Broken came out, which I think it was 2014. I think when that one came out. Um, I don't know what the details of this was. Maybe you can elaborate. I think Tom had mentioned that there was like maybe 3 years in between the previous record, The Glorious Collision came before that one, and I think there was some uncertainty in the band around that time whether he wanted to keep making music. From what I remember him saying, I don't know I don't remember the details of this. I was kind of going to ask you about that. But, I mean, was there just stuff going on in the band at that time where that was kind of the thing, or I vaguely remember this, but I thought it was interesting that he said that.
Between Glorious Mission and Hymns for the Broken?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, right around
yeah,
that time.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak for Tom, but what I can kind of recall from that time was that it kind of was done in a way making music, Tom, and Hannes got the opportunity to join Sabaton, and I think Marcus Gidell was the guitar player, also left the band. And Evergrey had 2 shows in Belgium, I think, already booked. So Tom called me and Hendrik and asked if we wanted to step in as 2 session players, because we were in another band called Death Destruction at that time, since we parted ways in 2010, I think. And we kind of thought about that. Wow, is this a good idea? You know how it was in the past and all the bad vibes and stuff like that. But it had, 3 years I think had passed. So it's like, but in a way, we're kind of missing playing in every day again. And so we agreed to do it, and there was kind of like some trouble along the way. We drove down through Germany and got pulled over by the police, and they had so much overweight in the van with all the gear. So all the guys had to step out of the van in the middle of the freeway on Autobahn.
Oh, wow.
And Tom had to drive the van by himself for 5 hours to the venue, while the rest of us had to figure out how to get from in the middle of the freeway to Belgium
Wow.
in within 5 hours.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and that was like me and Henrik just looked at each other like, see, I told you this was what happened when we were back. Like even though we were session guys, and Tom had the exact same feeling about us. So and he told us, and we laughed so hard. It's like that's exactly what I thought. I bring them in for 2 session gigs, and now we're fucked. Like
Wow.
so yeah, so we had to find like the local train station and get to like a big city to find a connecting train to go to Belgium, to the right city there, and then get picked up and go to the venue. And it was super stressful, you know. So we barely made it.
Yeah.
But that was the thing that kind of started the whole thing again. So you know, both those shows went well, and then we kind of took it from there. One day, Tom called us and said that they still had like one album to do with the label, I think, and one day we would be interested in joining them and making it together with him and with them. Show one.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought the hymns for the broken. Now that I've said it on when we wrote the review on the new record. I thought that when that album came out, hymns for the broken, and you got there's just a different energy. The music sounded more powerful. There's a lot of really cool concepts in that one, and I think from that point forward, in my opinion, every record has gotten better. And I love the last record, by the way, the Heartless Portrait. I think it's a killer record. That's one of the best albums you guys have ever made, in my opinion. And I'm a big fan, so this, it's hard to impress me because I'm picky when it comes to your music. So I was impressed with that record. Every song on there is just amazing. So I hope the
Wow.
fans listening to your band, if they're new fans, they go out and check out your back catalog from whether you want to start checking it out from when you came with the band, the Inner Circle, or before then, because there's still great records before that
Oh
Evergrey.
yeah, absolutely.
They're great
Yeah, thank you
records
so
there.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely, man.
Means a lot.
The Dark Discovery is another great one, and of course the Recreation Day. So it's funny, right? So a quick story on that. Years ago, when I don't know if you remember Headbangers Ball, that show was popular on MTV, right, for years. And in the US, in here,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
We,
Headbangers.
we had it. We had it as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that they redid that show with in the early 2000s, and I don't know if Sebastian Bach, I think, was the host or whatever, or Scott Ian from Anthrax or whatever. And I've always been a rock and metal guy, so I was watching it. I was just a kid in high school, probably, or right out of high school. And one day I'm listening to it. It was around the time Recreation Day had come out or was gonna come out. I don't know which. It was a long time ago, but uh, one of the songs was I don't know if it was. I'm trying to remember which video it was. It may have been Blinded. I think it was Blinded.
Yeah,
No, not
I
Blinded.
think it too.
I don't know. I don't remember which video it was. This is a long time ago, but I saw that video. I never heard of Evergrey before, and it blew me away, man. Just the power in the music and how they could just, just this is heavy, man. Like, I was at that time I was listening to more mainstream stuff. I was just a kid out of high school, and I've never heard stuff like that before, and it had this dark, brooding sound, but it was melodic as hell. So that was, that video got me turning into your band, and then I started going back into the earlier records, and I've been a fan ever since. And I always tell
Oh,
people
cool.
your discography is great. You have to go back and listen to a lot of the records from before that era because one, they've been remastered, which is great. They sound better than they did before, production
Yeah,
wise. And there's so much stuff there. Like, when you put a set list together, I'm sure you guys have trouble trying to figure out what to play because you got so many really cool tunes,
yeah, all the time,
all
all
the
the
time, right? How
time,
do you
and
put
yeah, and it gets even worse for every album. It gets worse.
yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, and yeah. Tom told me the other day. I can't spoil the set list, but he told me like, it was like a new experience for them in a way for the new set list that they have chosen for the at least for the South American shows and tour they're doing. It's like, yeah, okay, so this is crazy, but for this show we're only doing these songs. Can't spoil it, but it's like,
Sure.
yeah, okay, it came to the band has reached that level where it's yeah, it's getting really really tough to pick a set list, and it is because you have to you have to think about so many stuff. You don't want to, in a way, you don't want to get bored playing the same songs over and over again. You want to play songs that you want to play, and you have to play songs that the audience
Yeah.
want to hear.
Right.
And it's a fine balance
Yeah.
to pick it, and to keep it interesting for 90 minutes or
It's a good problem
so
to
forth.
have, I think, to have this immense
Yeah.
discography, so much
Oh
consistent.
yeah. Yeah. I rather rather have that problem, if you could call it a
Yeah,
problem, than having no songs at all to choose from. So
exactly. What do you think, or what do you hope when this record comes out, June 7th, it's the date, via Napalm. Um, what do you think or hope the fans will take from the new record, Theories of Emptiness?
I really I hope they will appreciate um, the mix that Adam Lonnie Getgood managed to bring out, the more like organic but still very modern and punchy sound. I think this album sounds way more like organic and lively in a way. Uh, it sounds more live than our previous albums, and in a very good way. But it doesn't sound like raw. It sounds expensive. you know,
Yeah. Yep.
it's super punchy, and it sounds like you hear Johan's bass clearer than you've ever heard his bass before, which I love because I love his playing, and it's just the right balance of all the instruments. And I think he did such an amazing job on the mix.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, and I'll be mindful of your time because we've been on for a minute, but uh, back when you started out, with the band, we've discussed, you were pretty young, you're a teenager when you started with the band. I can imagine and also because I know you guys are friends with some of that whole Gothenburg scene, that melodic death metal scene with bands like In Flames and Soilwork. There's a few other ones in there that you can throw in there. I know you guys are all friends. How has that sound shifted or evolved from those earlier records when you came into the band with Evergrey, or even being influenced by some of those bands? Because In Flames been around a minute, and they still are around today and touring. Um, that there's just a specific sound to that genre of music, if you want to call it that. It just sounds different. That's
Yeah.
Swedish Gothenburg sound, and a lot of it has to do with the dark melodies and things like that it portrays in the music. How did that influence Evergrey back then, and how has it kind of shifted from what it was?
I don't think that Evergrey picked up on the whole Gothenburg sound uh, because the Gothenburg sound has a lot of like Swedish folk music melodies and harmonies, and I from what I remember, Evergrey were never into that. They were more into making a mix between like Pink Floyd, Dream Theater, and Morbid Angel, and for that sonic landscape instead of following the Gothenburg sound vibe. And I remember that because they when my first contact with Evergrey was when I was like maybe 14,
Hmm.
something like that, 14, 15, and they immediately stood out. They had this like darkness, um, around them, and it could be because I was so much younger, like I was still a kid back then. But they had this dangerous kind of vibe that I didn't think that the other bands had. But not that I listened a lot to uh, the melodic death metal when I was 14, but when I kind of discovered the Gothenburg sound, that kind of bands, I really immediately heard that okay, this is something completely different to what's Evergrey doing. And same thing with Hammerfall. They also
Mm.
uh, were around at that time. They did a third, their own thing, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool growing up as a kid in Gothenburg, but and be able to see all these bands, uh, you know, growing as band and commercially and getting a reputation. And but me personally, I was never like a big fan of the Gothenburg sound until now. Kind of very late, you know. Now I really appreciate it. I think it's super cool, and even more cool to have Gothenburg on the map as one of the like the metal pioneers in the world. You know, it's yeah, that's nothing that you see every day. You
It's
know,
definitely different. Yeah, no, like you say, it's that whole sound that has evolved too through the years, but it was very specific to some of those bands that we mentioned, and they're still, like you said, they're still around today. They've been successful. They tour here in the States and all over the world and Europe all the time. So, but that's cool. I've never seen that comparison. Those bands that you mentioned for Evergrey sound. That's interesting. Pink Floyd. I can see some of that in the guitar work and just
yeah,
the melodic stuff and Morbid Angel. That's yeah, no, that's a good one there.
yeah, it is. It's almost words, so it's. I'm just saying what he said. You know, from
Yeah,
what I've remembered, that he when he started Evergrey, he wanted to make a band that sounded something like that, and I think it was those three bands
that's
kind of
that's
that we wanted
cool.
to get
That's
together.
cool.
Yeah,
It's a good tidbit of insight for fans. So one of the last things I was going to ask you was, I mean, obviously, when you finish the commitments that you have with the band, and do you have plans to work with other artists, production wise, or do you kind of have a schedule for what you want to do after this kind of transition?
well, I mean, it's a bit of both. I have some projects going on, but um, like my main plan is to not have a plan, to just jump on the projects that I find interesting and inspiring. Like that's what I'm going for. I'm just like following my gut at the moment. So, and that feels very, very good for where I'm at, for where I'm at right now. So,
Gotcha. Well, listen, Jonas, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. We'll blast all this out when it goes live on the channel, of course, on the magazine, and I'll leave the final words to you and to for your fans.
yeah, okay. Thank you for this interview. First of all, and again, it feels like I can't thank all the fans enough, but it's super important for me to do so. It's the fans is one of the biggest parts of why everyone can continue doing what we're doing. So thank you so much for everything again throughout the years and for all this love and support. Evergrey has the best fans in the world, and we really really appreciate you. So thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you. For me personally, as a fan of the band, I want to thank you for all the great records that you were part of, and for the great music that you and your bandmates have provided for a long time for fans like myself. And I think I can speak for some fans, but say you will be missed, for sure. And we wish you luck in the next phase of your career. And we're happy that you're happy you decided to move in different path, and it looks like both parties are happy with an announcement for the new drummer here, which I'm sure everybody heard by now by now with social media. But I just wanted to thank you 100% because I think you know, that you're a big part of the band as each member, and you will be missed for sure.
No, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Means a lot, man.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
Jonas. Have a great one. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.